My name is Inge Kostenrazi, and you are listening to Inge Reads, the Marshal's Handbook, July 2020. In this section, which is part 11 of our series, we will cover Roman numeral 14, Combat Authorization Procedures. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints regarding this recording, feel free to contact me. I live in the Kingdom of Atlantia. If you have any comments or questions regarding any of the rules or policies in this handbook or regarding fighting in your region, please refer to your kingdom's laws and rules, as well as discuss with your local marshal and check with the most up-to-date marshal's handbook. So I'll begin here on page 40, Roman numeral 15, Combat Authorization Procedures. A. This is an example of an authorization is for an armored combat fighter. This procedure may be used as is by a kingdom, or it may be modified as required to reflect differences in culture and convention. This authorization procedure requires that a member of the chivalry to act as a witness and provide a second opinion, a warranted authorized marshal, and an experienced authorized fighter be present. This outline is general and does not deal with the specifics of armor and weapons rules, since these rules may vary. Warranted authorized marshals will be trained in the specifics as they change. 1. If the fighter does not have proof of a signed waiver, for example, a blue membership card, prior to the authorization, the candidate and the authorizing marshal will properly complete a waiver, SCA form titled Consent to Participate in Release Liability. 2. The persons conducting the authorization must verify that the candidate is familiar with the rules of the list and the current rules that specifically govern the kingdom of residence. 3. The candidate must present themselves on the field in armor for inspection. The armor must be inspected on the body and must pass the current armor requirements for combat. This inspection shall be complete and exacting, and any deficiencies must be permanently corrected before the person may authorize. 4. Both the experienced authorized fighter and the candidate shall be armed with a sword and shield, or the weapon in which the candidate seeks authorization, if the kingdom requires separate weapon authorization. The Earl Marshal may permit a substitute weapon system. 5. For the first few minutes of the bout for authorization, the prospective fighter and the authorized fighter shall fight at half to three-quarter speed and verbally acknowledge all blows landed. During this phase of the authorization, the marshal and the member of the chivalry should get an impression of the new fighter's style, technique, ability to call blows, and ability to defend themselves. If this portion of the authorization is not satisfactorily completed, the authorization procedure shall be stopped. The candidate shall be told of the problems observed and instructed as to how to correct the problems. 6. If the first portion of the bout has progressed satisfactorily, then the combatants will be told to fight in list-type combat, counting blows until one is defeated. During this phase, the marshal and the member of the chivalry should observe the new fighter's control, reaction to blows, and ability to cope with pressure. 7. The marshal, the member of the chivalry, and the authorized fighter shall confer to decide if the new fighter exhibits adequate performance in the minimum criteria for authorization listed below. A. Does the candidate know and apply the rules of the list and the conventions of combat? 8. Does the candidate exhibit safe behavior on the field for both self and others? 9. How does the candidate react to pressure? Does he or she fight back or become disoriented and confused? 10. Can the candidate defend himself or herself? 11. Is the authorizing fighter able to feel and judge blows, both those received and those thrown? 12. If the marshal, member of the chivalry, and authorized fighter agree that the candidate meets these requirements, the marshal will notify the fighter that they are now authorized. The fighter and the marshal will properly complete any paperwork required by the kingdom, in addition to the previously completed waiver for SCA combat related activities. 13. The fighter will send these properly completed forms to the kingdom official responsible for issuing authorization cards. Upon receipt of these properly completed forms, an authorization card will be issued. The fighter shall be issued a temporary card or keep a copy of the authorization form and waiver if he or she intends to fight prior to receiving the authorization card. The card should be received within 1 month. If the card is not received, the fighter should contact the authorization official and forward any information or paperwork required. This completes a very short section of Roman numeral 15, Combat Authorization Procedures. Um, it's part 11 of this series of Inge Reads. And our next section will get into Equipment Inspection Guidelines and Experimental Weapons and Materials Procedures. And then following sections will include other parts of the handbook. Again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or complaints regarding this recording, feel free to talk to me. Any other questions regarding the rules specifically, please talk to your local marshal and refer to your kingdom laws and rules as well as your local guide. Have a great day.